Well, how's it going, YouTube? Today I'm going to be doing a little work on this old car. Belongs to a friend of mine in Georgia. I'm going to try and get this old nasty 350 out of here, and it is pretty nasty. It was smoking like none other, and we pulled it out of his 86 Monte Carlo SS about 5 years ago and decided we were going to put it in this car just for storage. And we took the 305 out of this car and put it in his 1987 Monte Carlo SS. And well, now it's time to take it out and put something else in that actually runs and doesn't smoke like a freight train. This engine had bad rings and valve guides, and it was a smoker. You'd start it up and it'd fill the area full of smoke. I mean, it'd look like a mosquito killer. So I'll let you get a look at what I got here and see what you think. So this is I would say early to mid 70s 350 Chevrolet. It's nothing special. Obviously no cam, no heads. All the parts to it have been scattered from here to Kingdom Come. This engine will eventually get rebuilt and put in my 1970 Chevelle. So we are going to pull it out of here. It's just sitting there, and if you look, just the motor mount bolts holding it in. And over here we have, I don't know if you can see it or not, but bell housing bolt on each side, no torque converter bolts or nothing. It's just sitting there. So yeah, we're gonna jerk it out of there today and put the small block 400 in it, and we'll let you watch. I don't know if you can see it or not, but we'll shine a light on the subject. There it is. One bolt right there, which is just barely in there. All I gotta do is give a few rounds and it'll probably come right out. So we'll let you watch. Okay, here we are. This is a pretty tall ride. They have 20-inch spoke wire wheels on it, which are coming off. The guy bought the car with them on there. He doesn't like them. So we're gonna take these bolts out. And it's right there. And yeah, which is a 9/16. That's pretty much it. You can take one of these cars apart with, as far as pulling the engine out, with about maybe 5 different tools, sockets, and wrenches. They're pretty easy. They come apart pretty quick. Now, 1983, a little bit of history on this old car while I'm taking this bolt out of here, is that they were metric bodies. So the bodies were metric and the drivetrains were SAE. If anybody has ever dealt with an old G-body, they would know that. And it looks like I might have to go get an extension. This is going to be at a bad angle here. I looked out. No need for an extension. I guess they were in there a little tighter than I remembered. Now the nice thing about these old cars is, as long as the cross member's in it and she's sitting on the motor mounts, there's no way that this engine can get away from this transmission until you pick it up. So you can literally take all of the bolts out of it and it will sit there. Bolt number 1. until you're ready to pick it up. Which I'm gonna have to go to the other side of the car. We'll be back. Now we'll get this other bolt out of here, and then I'll put a jack under the tranny. It's a funny story. When I was a kid, my first car I ever built was a G-body. Me and my brother, he's no longer with me, passed away in 2008 from complications of a medical condition. We built a 1978 Olds Cutlass in my dad's garage. I was 14 and he was 15, getting ready to be 16, just got his driver's license and all that neat stuff. And this was Grandma and Grandpa's car that my mom, of all people, blew the motor up in it. And it started out life with a 260 cubic inch Oldsmobile V8, which was one of, in the history of Oldsmobile, was one of the smallest cubic inch modern Oldsmobile V8s at the time. So we built this car, and we took a 75 Delta 88 out of the salvage yard and pulled a 455 out of it. And we're monkeying around in Dad's garage, and we got this car all put together, and we could not get the bolt holes to line up. So Dad took it down to the local weld shop and had the engine mounts welded in. So, yeah, it was good times. So now, let's see if we can get you set up here so you can see what I'm going to do. The nice things about not having any heads on this motor is you could just take these nut bolts, pull them right out. I always put the nut back on, because the biggest thing I've noticed people do when they're doing this kind of work, and see, I'll put it right here, and then I know right where it's at when I need it. But anyway, the biggest things people do when they take these cars apart is they take all the nuts and bolts out and they put them in Ziploc baggies. Well, that is a really good idea. There's nothing wrong with that at all. That's kind of a stretch. This one's a little snug in the hole there. Put the nut back on. Put it up there in the windshield wiper. See, in 1980s, well, older cars in general, Motors designed these cars with really cool, neat bolt trays built right in. That's the whole wiper package. And believe it or not, you can put a bolt in there, and this is experience talking. I've put a bolt in there and forgotten it was there, and got all finished with my car and went for a little test drive. Well, it was just happened to be the hood bolts, because I didn't have the hood on it. I left the hood off. I'll do that. That's my maiden voyage. Drive around without the hood. Hence probably how I lost the hood for the Chevelle somewhere along the way. But anyway, that car's just cool without a hood anyway. It's what makes the car. People know my car is the Chevelle with no hood. But anyway, and so I put the bolts up there, and I'm driving around, forgot they were there, you know, didn't even think about it. Hell, I think I drove that car for 2 weeks without the hood on it, and I went back to get the bolts to put the hood back on, and I'm like, well, what'd I do with them bolts? So I'm looking around on my bench, you know, looking in my toolbox, everywhere I could think of that I might have put them bolts. And I just happened to think, oh, wait a minute. So I walked over and I looked, and there they were, laying right next to the windshield wipers in the wiper tray. So they stay there. They don't go nowhere. It's kind of a cool deal. But anyway, back to where we're at. We'll let you see what I'm going to do here with this tranny jack. Most people don't think to do this. There we are. You can do this with a floor jack. You can do this with the transmission jack. Just pretty much whatever you have available. And really all you got to do is just twist it up there, if I could get her to twist. And it's going to be difficult. This old jack is designed to be run with an impact, so I'll be right back. Since I don't want to fire up the compressor and make a lot of noise, and I kind of like to show people how to do things old school, I guess you can say, or poor man, you don't have the ability to have air tools. I got an old Harbor Freight ratchet and extension. I just put it in that 1/2-inch hole, and it's the same concept, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Just start jacking her up, support the bottom of the ratchet, put my hand there. That keeps me from tearing it up on the cement floor. We'll get her close, center it up. It's a lot easier with an impact, believe me. I know. There we are. The engine's free from the tranny. She's ready to come out. Sorry about the goofy camera angles, but anyway, I'm about to install the engine pole chain. On this engine, you have to use a chain because obviously, you know, it has no heads or intake manifold. On an engine that is a small block or Ford or Dodge or anything with a carburetor on it, you can use this part right here, which you get at O'Reilly's or any major big box parts store, or you can order them on Amazon or just about anywhere, eBay, offline. And these work really good. They have 3 separate holes, 1, 2, 3, and each hole changes the angle in which your engine crane picks up the engine. It's kind of simple. It works really well. You can use this on anything that you can bolt it to. If you can bolt it to, say, an old 302 Ford that has the EFI fuel injection, these 4 bolt holes in the middle, I believe, will line up with bolt holes on the intake manifold, or the lower plenum of a Ford 302. Don't quote me on it because I've never tried it, but here within a few months I'm going to. So anyway, now one thing most people don't know is, you see how the hood is still on this car? You can do this. You can actually pull an engine out of a G-body with the hood still attached on the car, which the advantage of that is you don't have to line it back up. If you still have intake and carburetor on it, then it can be kind of tricky and you got to get real close. It's a lot easier if you pull a carburetor off, which most guys do. I have been known not to pull a carburetor off a motor before I pull it, because you can do it either way. Now, on this particular body style, the hood hinge is all one piece where the spring is attached to the pivot. But you can take and pull that bolt out of there, and the same with the one on the other side, and this hood will almost stand straight up and down. And then you don't have to pull it off. And then when you're done doing your engine swap, you just put them 2 bolts right back in. We're all set. So now let me set this down here and we'll get busy putting this chain on this motor so we can get this baby out of this car. Hopefully you don't fall over. So take just a short length of chain with a hook on one end and a clevis on the other. I'll go through a chain hook, just put your bolt, take your chain, loop it over, I don't know if you can see that, like that, and then just put your bolt right through there, and that bolt cannot get away. Then you take it And I'm going to go to this hole right here, which is the top water pump hole. Now you don't want to get the wrenching around on that too much, because you'll break out the block. And then I throw my wrench on the floor, which I didn't need that one anyway, but make sure you get plenty of threads in there. You get plenty of meat. Otherwise you can pull the threads out. This engine without heads on it, or cam in it, or intake manifold, actually only weighs just a couple hundred pounds. It really is not that heavy. In my heyday when I was younger, I used to be able to pick them up and carry them around with nothing in them. A Bear 350 Chevrolet casting, don't quote me on it, weighs approximately, yeah, I'd say give or take 100 pounds, just a bare block, nothing in it. They are pretty heavy. I definitely know that they could weigh quite a bit with everything in them. So now I've got the garage door open. Obviously I'm standing outside here in Kansas on this wonderful cloudy day, which is kind of an advantage because, believe it or not, clouds work as insulation, hold heat in. It's about 40, 45 here today on this January early afternoon, and today is there is our donor small block 400 swinging from the hit. We're going to put her in the car and I'm going to let you watch. So here we go. So I got the engine back in this car after some minor complications, as you could see from the video, but it's in there. And I had to do something that I do not recommend that you do at home. If you see what I did, I took the bolt out of my crane and slid that boom as far as I could forward without actually pulling it out. I think it's about right here is the end of it. And I don't suggest you do that. I did it because, well, I am the absent-minded mechanic and I am kind of just crazy like that. So now we need to let her down and get her out of here, and we got her all lined up, bell housing bolts in the tranny. See how much of a difference that makes? That gave me an extra 6 inches of reach, which was just enough to get that dude in the hole. I think this is a AC Delco engine crane from AutoZone, no endorsement. A friend of mine bought it for me several years ago as a gift because we needed one, and he didn't have one and I didn't have one, so we just we bought this one and we share it. So a shout out to Mr. Eric Winter for helping me out with the engine crane. Now we officially have a small block 400 in the 1983 Monte Carlo LS. We're kind of leaning towards the sleeper idea with this car, so we're probably going to keep it single exhaust, and we'll keep the size of the pipe. But for now, until spring comes along, I am done with this video, or this build, until spring. Yeah. I think I left my 9/16 under the car. Is it under there? Do you see it? Nope. No either. Absent-minded mechanic. Now, what do we think? Just need to loosen that baby up just a little bit. Well, there we are. It's official. Well, if you like my attitude, give me a thumbs up. I'm gonna clean up. It's Sunday, family day, time to go spend some time with the family, and I'm gonna get out of here. So thank you for watching. If you like my attitude, click like, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.